We are coming towards the end of the transfer window now, and Manchester United are not in a good position. They have just barely scraped through their first few matches, and that includes a sort of cheaty win against Wolves, where Wolves definitely should have had a penalty, and beating Nottingham Forest after being 2 goals down in 4 minutes. Not good. So, what do Manchester United need to do to sort of turn things around and get things going in the right direction again? First off, you have to start with looking at the performances so far this season and looking for consistent things that are going wrong. The first one, undoubtedly, everyone's going to see is the deficiency in midfield. Now, Manchester United fans are sort of used to this, not having the right midfielders in the right positions. But this is something different. This is Manchester United have had hundreds of millions of pounds to throw at players over the past few summers, and it's gone completely wrong for them. If you look at the makeup of the midfield at the moment, it's not that they were unable to get their targets, it's that their targets were completely wrong. There's Casemiro in there as a defensive midfielder. That's all well and good. However, around him, Christian Eriksen, attacking midfielder. Mason Mount, attacking midfielder. Bruno Fernandes, attacking midfielder. At a push, you've got Scott McTominay as another defensive midfielder, but apparently he's being pushed out of the door. So it's quite hard to see where that sort of midfield structure comes in. So when Manchester United lose the ball, teams that are specialists in transitions, like Nottingham Forest, are able to just attack and rush through them and cause massive problems. Now, conceding goals isn't necessarily the worst thing. It happens to everyone. But when it happens consistently because your midfield doesn't work structurally, you really need to make a move. Aside from that, there's a lack of an attacking cutting edge at Manchester United at the minute. Now, to mitigate this, I have to say that Rasmus Højlund is still injured. That's going to happen. It's completely natural. You buy in a player that's hurt, he's not going to start immediately and he's not going to get results right away. However, that's still one good centre forward at Manchester United, and there needs to be a hell of a lot more than that if it's going to be a squad that's worthy of contending for cups, the Champions League, the Premier League. And I think it was Rashford yesterday, maybe, that had a chance a couple of yards out, headed the ball into the ground and didn't do anything with it. Time and time again, there's good chances that a decent striker can deal with, and you've got Rashford playing out of position from the left wing instead as a centre forward, and he's unable to make the finishes happen. But that makes sense because that's not where he belongs. Manchester United need to really think and get their recruitment right and consider the next steps in the market. First thing to look at is a good backup centre-back. I've not mentioned about a centre-back so far, but when I was researching this video, I took a look at the squad and I thought that isn't good enough. Now, you've got Rafa Varane, good player. Lisandro Martinez, good player, although Varane's apparently got interest from Saudi Arabia, but who knows about that. But behind that, you've not got much. You've got Bailly, Lindelof, Maguire, Johnny Evans for some reason. And I don't think there's enough good depth at centre-back to really make a difference, especially when a lot of it is going to be deeply unhappy. Like, Harry Maguire isn't the happiest player at the moment for understandable reasons as well. A good backup centre-back in the rest of the market, maybe someone young that can develop, would be the best way forwards, I think. Aside from that, a good, reliable central defensive midfielder is a must. As I mentioned earlier, the balance of that midfield doesn't work. Sofyan Amrabat, who was mentioned in various people's Twitter accounts, Fabrizio Romano, for example, is a solid option. If they get him, good, problem solved. But then if they don't, and there's only a few days left of the window, then there's a serious issue at hand. Paying out for Amrabat might not be perfect because he's not the youngest, but he solves a problem for now, and then you've got next window to try and solve it for next time. In addition to that, I think a sort of across-the-line attacker is another must. Preferably, they prefer to play at number 9. Because, of course, you need a good number 9. It's the Premier League. You need someone who can put away 20 goals a season if you're going to be in with any hope of winning the division. However, being good in other positions is also ideal because on the right wing, you've got Antony, who still isn't living up to his price tag. It's not perfect, and you sort of need someone who can slot in there. Garnacho, fine. I can't remember who else is there, but there's not that much depth on the wings. And something else that they need to do with their transfers is take Erik ten Hag out of the process. The amount of times that Manchester United have needed a specific position and gone, we'll just ask Ten Hag what he wants. And you've ended up with Antony. You've ended up with other Ajax players, Onana, for example, rather than making the moves that make sense and that gives you this unbalanced squad because he's just picked up players that he likes the look of rather than ones that are desperately needed. Now, the ultimate question is, where do Manchester United end up this season? And it all comes down to this coming week and the transfer window ahead. Now, I'm recording this before the last week of the transfer window, so I don't know if something's going to have happened in the meantime. And there's a lot of big decisions to be made. If everything goes right, then there's easily a push for Champions League qualification, couple of trophies, who knows? Like last season, just building on what was already good. However, if it doesn't happen, I can see other clubs taking advantage of those transitional weaknesses and really causing problems at Old Trafford. Anyway, comment what you think down below, like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe. See you later.